You are currently the only person in this conference.
Ma'am, is PPT visible? Hi, Bhumika. Good evening. Ma'am, is the PPT visible? Can you able to do the access?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just recap the concept the students will join, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. As of now, only Bhumika is present in the class. No one else. Will wait for Arnav also. He is an active student in the class.
Sure.
We'll be waiting for him also for just few minutes. I mean, 1 to 2 minutes. I'll be waiting for him. Good evening, Bhumika. Bhumika, just let me know whether you are able to hear me or not. I remember, if I'm not wrong, you weren't there in the last session, Bhumika. You weren't there. So let us have a quick look on what I have taught you in session 3. On a brief, we have discussed about the factors which are affecting the values of acceleration due to gravity. If you can remember, acceleration due to gravity is the acceleration developed in bodies which are falling or moving only under the influence of gravitational force. It's very obvious point that when force acts on an object, they accelerate. It can be negative, it can be a positive acceleration. As such, when gravitational force acts on objects, they too get accelerated, and the acceleration hence produced because of gravitational force acting on them is called as acceleration due to gravity. And in the last session, in session 3, we have discussed about what are the different factors which will have its effect on the value of G. And shape of the earth stands first in the list. As you might be knowing by this time that earth is not a perfect sphere. It is bulgy at the poles and a little flattened at the, it is flat at the poles and bulge at the equator. As it is shown in the diagram, as you can see it in the diagram, it will be bulgy at equator and will be flat at the poles. For this reason, the radius of the earth at poles is less when compared to radius of the earth at equator. And from the expression, G is equal to Gm by r square. As G is a universal constant and m, mass of the earth, is also constant, acceleration due to gravity is inversely proportional to radius square of the radius of the earth. So G is inversely related to radius. So whenever radius is more, if radius is more, then the value of G will be less. And hence, as radius of the earth at the equator is more, acceleration due to gravity at equator is less when compared to acceleration due to gravity at poles. So we can conclude these points and finally say that G value is maximum at poles and minimum at the equator. And the value here shows the same. Equator, it is around 9.78 meter per second square, whereas at poles, G has a value 9.83 meter per second square. So the shape of the earth is having its effect on the value of G, with minimum at equator and maximum at poles. And then the other factor affecting the G is height. It means that as we move away from the earth upwards, as the height from the ground increases, as the height from the ground, it is shown in the diagram. If you can see, the bold circle is the earth and the dotted circle is the height at which an object is kept. So the expression becomes from the base expression, G is equal to Gm by r square. Now r has become the distance between center and the place where object is or the body is from the surface of the earth. So this becomes r plus h whole square. And then further modifications, you get the value of g at a certain height h above the surface of the earth, gh, is given as g into r square by r plus h whole square. The value of g at a certain height h, gh means value of g at a certain height h is given in terms of a standard g and is g r square by r plus h whole square. You can further simplify it, and you can finally write also in this manner: g into 1 minus 2h by r. And there are two expressions here. One should be used when the height above the surface of the earth is very, very, very less when compared to radius of the earth. As you know, radius of the earth is 6,400 kilometers. And if you are trying to find acceleration due to gravity at a height, say for example 5 kilometers above the surface of the earth, then you can see clearly here that 5 kilometers is far less when compared to 6,400 kilometers. And hence you can go for the second expression, which is gh is equal to g into 1 minus 2h by r. Arnav, I haven't taught anything here. I was just revising what we have learned. And the very first factor that affects g, which is shape of the earth, is just discussed. Arnav, you haven't missed anything. And this is the
Okay, ma'am.
second factor I am discussing. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You know that how shape of the earth will be affecting the value of g at poles and at equator.
Yes, ma'am.
You remember. And this is the second one I'm discussing. So Bhumika, I hope you are following. So these are the formula. What you are looking at the screen are the formulae to use to calculate acceleration due to gravity at a certain height above the surface of the earth. And one expression can be used for any value of h, and the second expression can be used only when the value of h is far, far, far less than the radius of the earth. So as an example, I told you, if at all you are trying to find value of g at a height 5 kilometers above the surface of the earth, and it is very much less when compared to radius, and hence you can use the second expression. And as a summary, I can tell you, as you go above the surface of the earth, the value of g keeps on decreasing. The value of g decreases as you move to greater heights above the surface of the earth. And then the opposite factor, which looks almost similar, acceleration due to gravity with respect to depth below the surface of the earth. So far we have seen what happens when we move above the surface of the earth, and now we'll see what happens when we go below the surface of the earth. So as you move towards the earth, acceleration due to gravity decreases. And finally, at center of the earth, acceleration due to gravity becomes 0. And acceleration due to gravity at a certain depth below the surface of the earth is calculated by using this formula: gd is equal to g minus 1 minus d by r. So if you are at the center of the earth, which means you are, distance is equal to radius. So 1 minus r by r, which becomes 0. So at the center of the earth, g becomes 0. So this is what is called zero gravity. At the center of the earth, acceleration due to gravity is 0. And that is called zero gravity phenomenon. Now we have already worked it out in the last session. Do you remember, Arnav? Bhumika, you can give it a try, Nana. The first one, the height where gravity is same as of depth 10 kilometers. So you can equate both the expressions and we'll be able to do it. So both falls under the same thing. The height where gravity is same as depth of 3,200 kilometers, which means that you have to find the height at which you have the value of acceleration due to gravity same as when you are at a depth of 3,200 kilometers below the surface of the earth. And then rotation of the earth, how is it affecting the acceleration due to gravity. For that reason, we have actually learned this concept, angular velocity. See, when objects are in linear motion, we will be talking about their linear velocity, or we just say velocity. But when we are talking about their rotational motion, we have to consider its angular velocity along with linear velocity. And angular velocity is the angular displacement made by the object in given time, and hence the expression goes like angular velocity is equal to angular displacement by time. And this angular displacement is measured in angles. If you can look at the diagram, initially the object is at A, or the particle which is in circular motion is at A, and then after a certain time it went to B. So the displacement here is angular displacement and is the angle theta here. Angle between the vector OA and OB, which is theta. That is given by the expression theta by T. And its unit will be radians per second. Because as a unit of angle is radian, we go for radian per second as a unit of angular velocity. And this is the points you have to remember when you are actually understanding it. It is represented by a pseudo vector passing through the center of the circle and which is perpendicular to the plane containing the circle. Angular velocity is represented by a pseudo vector. Pseudo is which is not real. So it is actually imagined to be perpendicular to the plane of the circular motion. In uniform circular motion, as the speed is constant, equal angles. Uniform circular motion, if you can remember, we learned that its speed is a constant. It takes equal times to make revolutions. But its velocity changes because the direction keeps on changing at every point of the circular motion. So as the speed is constant, it will be sweeping equal angles in equal intervals of time, I have to say. So that's the angular velocity is a constant in uniform circular motion. So in uniform circular motion, what are the parameters? Constant, speed, angular velocity, and time period of revolution. All of them remain constant in uniform circular motion. So this is in terms of time period, omega is equal to 2 pi by T. Capital T stands for time period of revolution, the time taken by the object or the particle to complete one revolution. And latitude or rotation, actually in the name of rotation, we will be learning about the value of G at different latitudes. And if I say that theta is the latitude, theta is the angle between a particular latitude and an equator, then the value of G at that particular latitude is given by the expression G dash is equal to G naught minus omega square R cos square theta. So omega is angular velocity, R is radius of the earth, and theta is the latitude. And the angular displacement for one revolution is taken as 2 pi radians for one revolution. It is 2 pi radians. So this can also be done like what should be the height from the ground such that acceleration due to gravity becomes half that on the surface of the earth. You have to consider value of G dash. It is given that at a certain height, G value is found to be half of its original value. So in place of G dash, you have to consider G by 2, and this should be equal to G into 1 minus 2h by r. See, because we can't estimate the height, whether it is a greater height or a lesser height. So you can take the first expression, which is, of course, which is r by r plus h whole square, or you can also use this 1 minus 2h by r also. So when you use that formula, you can find an answer. The same thing can be applied here. Arnav, I think you can share the notes of yours. I request Bhumika to just go through this part of the thing in your material, this part of the session. What are the factors affecting the value of G and how are they affecting? And if at all you didn't find anything I mean, you didn't understand anything, please let me know so that I can explain about it once again in the next class. Okay. So shall I move to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I hope this is clear. So today we are going to learn about a concept which might be quite confusing for you for the past few standards. Like you would have heard about these concepts in your earlier classes also, but on which you don't have a clarity. And those are nothing but mass and weight. So what is this mass? What is the weight? And how are they different from each other? But before that, let us try to understand the difference between acceleration due to gravity and gravitational constant, which are denoted by small g and capital G. Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you have learned about two G's, one small g and one capital G. Small g is acceleration due to gravity and capital G is universal gravitational constant. And what are the difference between both of them? So we'll be learning about the differences by just pointing out at the specifications. Now, what is small g? How can you define this small g? This is the acceleration produced. This is acceleration produced due to gravitational force. And how can you define G, capital G? See,
The
if you can.
force with which the earth pulls objects towards itself.
Now, that is gravitational force. That is not G. See, if you can remember this expression we have learned in the earlier sessions of this concept, F is given as G m1 m2 by r square. So if I have two objects of masses m1 and m2 and their centers separated by a distance r, then they have a mutual attraction towards each other, and the force of attraction between both of them is given by this expression. If I consider them to be 1 kg each, and if they are separated by a distance 1 meter apart, then what will this become? What will F become if I'm considering masses to be 1 kg each and they're separated by a distance 1 meter? So you simply get F is equal to G, right? Because M is 1 square. Everything becomes 1 and you can see F is equal to G. And now you can define this G as the force of attraction present between two objects of mass 1 kg each separated by a distance 1 meter. So when you have two objects each having 1 kg mass and separated by 1 meter distance, then the force of attraction between them is equal to G. Did you understand? So G is said to be a force of attraction, where small g is acceleration, capital G can be called as force of attraction between objects of particular specifications. So G is force between two objects, each of mass 1 kg and are 1 meter apart. So small g is acceleration, whereas capital G is force. And then can you tell me the next one? Arnav, can you recollect us any point related to small g and capital G?
Ma'am, small g acts between earth and objects while g acts between two objects.
Never. You can't compare them because they're not forces. You can only differentiate them. See, G is not a constant. G is not a constant because just now we have revised how G value varies with respect to different factors. It can be the shape of the earth, it can be rotation of the earth, or height and depth above and below the surface of the earth. You can see the value of G keeps changing. Whereas capital G is a constant everywhere in the universe. As because G itself, you can recollect the name, capital G is universal gravitational constant. So this is going to be a constant everywhere in the universe, but G is not a constant. Even when you consider different places on the earth, or if you consider different planets in this solar system, G value is not same on every planet, and G itself is not same even on the earth itself. So G is not a constant, whereas capital G is a constant. Small g is a vector quantity. What is meant by vector?
Which includes magnitude as well as direction.
Yeah, which is specified by its magnitude and direction. And what is the direction of small g?
Towards the earth.
It acts always. It will be seen. Acceleration due to gravity for a freely falling object is always vertically downwards. Which are freely falling, acceleration due to gravity is vertically downwards. So it has a direction to specify, and if you can remember, for objects which are moving up, we have considered it to be minus g, and for objects which are falling towards the earth, we have considered it to be plus g. So we are specifying the direction, and hence this is a vector quantity. Whereas capital G is just a scalar quantity, which is having only value and no direction. And what is this magnitude? What magnitude does G have? In general,
9.8.
very good. In general, I can take it as 9.8 meter per second square. And what is the value of G?
6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11.
Newton meter square per kg square. And lastly, I can say that G can have a value 0. G can have 0 magnitude, whereas capital G can never have 0 magnitude. When and where you can see that G is 0. The value of Z is 0. Just now we have learned that the center of the earth, acceleration due to gravity is 0. So G value can be 0, but capital G can never be 0. Capital G can never be 0. So hope you have understood the differences between these two. Do not get confused. Always remember, small g is acceleration, but capital G is a proportionality constant basically, but we have defined it considering a specific condition, like objects each of mass 1 kg separated by 1 meter apart. And then G is not a constant, it keeps varying with different factors, but capital G is a universal constant. Now, small g is a vector quantity being acceleration, but capital G is a scalar quantity. They differ in their values also, in magnitudes. And finally, G can be sometimes 0, but capital G can never be 0. Hope this is clear. Can I move to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.